You're tuned in to The Thinking Class with Lawrence D. Adams. Let's go.
Salute everyone. This is Lawrence D. Adams. This is When Spirituality and the Game Combines. You have the Thinking Class. Let me get started. Well, I don't care if people listen or not, but I'm going to take the gloves off today. We're going to talk about this. I try to be very strategic in what I posted or what I said. It's called the Thinking Class in the Land of the Zombies. There's so much that could be talked about. So much that could be talked about that I'm just going to go in today. Who's listening, who's not, I don't care. I'm just going to say some things that need to be said. And it may offend some people. Some people might get upset. They may not like me anymore. They're like, I'm not listening to you anymore. Okay, this is not for you. Because it's been a week of transformation for me, reevaluation, letting some things go, putting some things in place. I'm at a completely different state mentally. So I'm going to definitely shoot from the hip. I know it's going to offend some people, but I'm just going to call it out what it is. This may be a little political, but you decide who you want to vote for because it's none of my doggone decision. But I am going to be shooting from the hip today, uncut, unraw. I'm just, wow, before I even start, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate it. Thinking Class, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Jonathan W., longtime member of the Thinking Class, been here for a long time. Thank you for the support. Appreciate it. But I'm just gonna go in today. Listen, Linda, listen. We have a lot of people who don't even realize that they're in the land of the zombies. That means they have no life, but I specifically want to get it. They're at the place of they do not think. The reason why we even designed this platform to be called the Thinking Class is for you to be a critical thinker of the game, of life, not just of women, but of life. But we have a lot of people who are just going with the masses down the hill of mass consciousness and not going anywhere. And what I'm seeing, what I'm exposed to, what I'm hearing, what I see on social media, on the news circuit, on different sites and things like that, we got a lot of people who do not have critical thinking skills, who cannot reason, who do not do their due diligence to do research, to find out what's going on around them, let alone with themselves. So I need to jump out the box and take the gloves off. We are in the land of zombies, where everyone else is following after someone else. We're in the land where people are not using their minds. They're not using their souls, let alone using their spirits. We have a lot of people who are just going along just to get along. They do not know how to get out of mass consciousness of thinking. They do not know that there is a separation that you're going to have to make from what everyone else is doing and what everybody else is saying. Will it be comfortable? No. Would everybody like you? No. Would everybody agree with you? Heavens to hell, no. But what we got now, I've seen so many people who are like the Walking Dead, just going along, regurgitating what they heard, what they seen, what their limited experience, without doing any research, without reasoning, without using critical thinking. This goes to women. This goes to politics. This goes to life. We have a lot of people who do not have critical thinking skills, but they are the loudest people talking on these social media sites, on these Instagram sites, Facebooks, and anywhere else, talking because they have a voice. Some of the worst thing they could have did is give some people a mic, because they don't have nothing to say and they're not going anywhere, and they are agents, not of change, but they are agents to keep you comfortable because of their dysfunctionality. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. People get paid off of you being dysfunctional, not you being healed, not you being delivered, not you going past what I teach and actually live it. People get paid by giving you just enough to keep you what? Dysfunctional. I heard amazing 2 stories this week that really blew my mind. It changed the way I looked at things and how I looked at the political arena and the social arena and many arenas around me. One of the things I've seen, the story was so potent that we are so conditioned to look for a handout instead of being or standing 10 toes down and getting our own self out the mud. Let me repeat that, because this is definitely where we need to be at. Especially, I need to talk to the men. We are so conditioned to look for a handout that someone needs to give us something instead of getting it out the mud or building yourself, and you settle for people giving you crumbs instead of you standing up and going to the table and eating like a man. I've seen so much hypocrisy on these YouTube streets, Facebook streets, Instagram streets, TikTok streets, many places, because so many people have their hand out looking for what somebody can give them. They are carrying the welfare mentality versus having the mentality, just open up the door and I will get it myself. Where are those people at? Why are we always looking for a crutch? Why are we always looking for somebody to save us? Let me say this. Shout out to Derek Grace and some other people. I've said it also. There's no one coming to save you. Either party, either group, your mama and them. There's no one coming to save you. When you realize that, you will buckle your belt, you will tie your lace up on your shoes, and you will stand up and go get what's yours. Let me say that again. I know this is not going to be popular, but in the land of zombies, they don't want to hear this. There's no one coming to save you. If you're looking for a savior, he's already come and gone. Too many of our people are looking for a savior in places where it should not even be. Too many of our people are looking for a savior in every program, every situation to come save you from something that you need to get your assets up and go get yourself. There's no one coming to save you. When you realize that, you'll stop belly aching and crying. We need to really get that in the minds of our people. And not just, and I'm not talking about people, I'm talking about people who think. People who think realize that, oh, I got to figure out my own way. But we got too many people who are with their hands out, save us. We can't make it. We don't have the education. We don't have the right means. We don't have this. Okay, no, listen. Until you realize that you are not inferior, that you are intelligent, that you are wise, that you have the wherewithal to stand up and go to the table and eat yourself, that's when the world and the people around you will respect you. You wonder why there's no respect, especially for a particular community that I'm addressing right now, because you don't want to stand up and you got more excuses. You got more excuses than somebody that's overweight who can't stop going to Krispy Kremes. When will you stand up and go for yours? When will you stand up and get out of the land of zombies, going along just to get along, agreeing with what everybody else is saying? When are you going to research and do your own process of elimination of hearing both sides and have deductive reasoning on why you believe what you believe and where you stand at? We're in a place, especially in this new AI age, where people don't know how to think. What we are experiencing now is a lot of fear mongering and a lot of people who are giving fear mongering quotes and comments that don't add up. Don't add up. Don't add up. I heard something yesterday that shook the core of my foundation, and I realized that it's a hard pill to swallow, especially when you begin to think and you begin to reason. We realize that people have used racism as a crutch for many years. Is there racism? Yes, it is. But I'm gonna give you some game. Yes, there's racism. I've experienced it. I ran home from school up London Road. I've experienced it in college. I experienced it in jobs. Yes, there's racism. Yeah, I experienced it. But the thing of it is, I wasn't going to allow somebody who was racist to stop me. Okay, this is what you believe. This is your conviction, that your skewed way of thinking of how a particular colored person is. That's on you. I will rise above you. I will supersede you. I will take over. But now we're so on the baby milk of calling everything racist that we have not stood up and go for ours. I know this is a little tough, the thinking class, but I'm talking about the people in Atlanta, the zombies. But this is just true. This is just the reality of it is. We are so on the milk of calling everybody racist. They're racist. That person's racist. While at the same token, you are a bigot. Yes, there's an infrastructure set up that's racist. Okay, great. What are you going to do about it? Cry about it? Get off of your assets and do something. Do something for you and do something for the people around you who are ready to go to the next level. Let me save this too, because now I got the gloves off and I'm only 14 minutes in, but I'm going to save this too. You can't save everybody. Plain and simple. You cannot save everyone. Some people you're going to have to leave right where they are. You can present all the game. You can tell them all the ways of thinking. You can present all the history and all the facts and all the knowledge, but they're going to stay at the same place that they are because they refuse to go any further because it's comfortable. When somebody feeds you versus you getting up and said, I'm going to feed myself. Well, my father, shout out to my father who's already passed on. When my father passed on, he had a couple ailments and things that were going on with him health-wise. So in the process of that, he lost one of his legs. So he was pretty much wheelchair bound. My father had this notion when you come over to his house, he wanted your help, but you were not going to do everything for him. He was not going to allow himself to feel helpless around you. Now, he needed to help to move from this place to that place to get his medicine, things like that. But you were not. One thing that my father had, you were not going to break his spirit on him, his ability to take care of himself. He was going to figure it out. He's going to make a phone call. He was going to do whatever he needed to do. He makes sure, like I said, he had some health issues, things that were going on, but some things he said, no, don't touch me. I got it. I put my own shirt on. But Dad, let me help you out, Dad. No, I got it. I got the door. I will lock it. Some of us may be in the system that looks like we're handicapped, but we don't have the ability. We have not got the unction to say, I will do it myself. That is the true thinking class. The thinking class is a critical mass or collective. Now, I don't want to say mass, a collective of individuals who decided to think critically and to do things for themselves. They're not going around crying and whining about what somebody did not or could not or did not do for them. We wondering why the dating pool is like it is? Because we have people who don't want to do for themselves, who don't want to stand up, who don't want to say, that's mine, I'm going to get it. I looked at the interview with LL Cool J and Shannon Sharp, and I looked at the eyes of LL Cool J as he was talking. And he said he was a beast. He's mad aggressive when it comes to this rap. He said, even at his age, I dare any rapper to come down, pen and paper, I will destroy them. Many of us has lost that fire to go after what we want because we've been in a land of zombies, of people just getting along. It's my leg cut off. This is going on. I can't do this. I can't do that. And you wonder why people don't respect you or respect where you at or where you're going. We have to grow up. It's past time saying that we need to grow up. We're already grown. Well, we don't know this. We don't get that. There are people with less than you have. We know this when we see certain groups of individuals come to the United States with less than what you have and the luxuries that you have, and they do better than you. Why? Because it didn't. Yeah, oh yeah, I heard the person say over there, well, the government's helping them, giving them that. I hear that. Even before that, they went in there and went after what they want. We have gone too comfortable in this land of the zombies. We have grown too comfortable in the land of people just get along to get along. I am completely appalled at the level of ignorance that has been spewed out from individuals. Oh, wow. Thank you. We are conditioned to be, you're right. We are conditioned to be consumers and not builders. Who, in the words of one of my lovely mentors I watch all the time, who has tricked you? Who has told you that you were inferior? Who has bamboozled you to make you think that you're not enough? What's going on, Ted? What's going on, True Challenge? Who has lied to you to make you think that you can't accomplish what you're designed to accomplish? Who's lied to you? Many of the things that we're battling are in being inferior to someone else who can't do half of what we can do. A lot of people let me say this, there's big money in keeping you down. I'm gonna say it again because I know somebody needs to hear it. But there's big money in keeping you thinking you believing that you are inferior. There's big money in keeping you think that you can't have a successful relationship and that you can't have a successful marriage. There's big money in saying that, oh, you know what? You're not good at money management. You're not good at economics. You're not good at infrastructure. You're not good at logistics. There's big money in keeping you just right there at the edge where you never go past that. As they say, the greatest slavery that we have now, is more mental than anything else. We don't need to put chains on you anymore because we have chains on your mind. We don't need to put chains on your heart because you already sold your heart away to being consumers. Let me address the whole thing with the consumers. I've been doing a study this week, and it was quite interesting with the bourgeoisie, and everybody has a whole things to say about the bourgeoisie. They have not done study. I got a book coming in from Amazon on it. But the biggest trick that has been befuddled the Black community, particularly, is our being, as the brother has said, being consumers. We want to have the latest and the greatest, and we can barely pay our rent, pay our mortgage, pay the car note, because we have this thing about being the image that I got it together, that I'm all of that, and then I'm all of this. While slowly our communities, our families, our relationships are crumbling all around us. Yes, we have been tricked to be consumers because we think we are inferior. So you try to soothe yourself with buying items and getting things that make you feel better so that you feel like you're on the same level as someone else or as your counterpart. Let's call it what it is. Why even play about it today? Not knowing that you are great already. We have talked about it many times on here, where God is within. How dare you think less than what you are and who you are? How dare you insult who God is inside of you? It's an insult to be inferior, to think inferior. But we're in a place of people walking around like zombies. Whatever the mass consciousness say, I'm all for it. Wherever the mass consciousness go, I'm all for it. When will you stand up and be the man or the woman that you need to be and go for yours? When will you say enough is enough? If you really want to eradicate racism, if you really want to eradicate, which they really do not, because it's a money-making machine by promoting racism, if you really want to eradicate that, as I was taught, you be 10 times better than anyone that's racist. Second of all, you get your money together. I don't care how racist you get down to it. Money talks, and you know what else walks. Oh no, LDA, you shouldn't be saying that. This is we need that we shall overcome. How long we gonna say we shall overcome? How long we gonna sing that? How long we gonna stand on the sidelines begging for somebody to give us something? Whoever gets into office, you got to make a decision. I'm getting mine no matter what. Let me say that for those who on the fence, or you're going to vote either way, because I don't, whatever you're going to vote, great. But whoever's in office, I'm going to get mine. My people are going to eat. We're going to do good. But we have the mentality that we going back. It's going to be all bad. We ain't going to be able to do it, boss. I don't know what we's going to do. If you don't start that shucking and jiving and that like my grandfather said, that lot of gagging and dope popping, wake the hell up. Too many of us are convinced that we deserve a lifestyle beyond our own means, focusing on wants rather than expressing thanks for the blessing we have. Facts right there. Okay, wait a minute. There we go. So it's time out for this whole zombie apocalypse that we are experiencing in the consciousness of people. Actually, let me be very clear. It's actually big money in keeping you dumb and not thinking. It's actually big money, because I can lead you along the way you need to go. Let me get that. Let me say that very clearly, because I know my goal today is to irritate you, to make you mad, and to make you realize that, yeah, there's big money in keeping you in the place of the land of the zombies. It's big money to keep you chasing after a carrot that you would never get. There's big money in keeping you ignorant. There is big money causing you to chase after racism, causing you to chase after classism, chasing after this, chasing after that. But the moment you realize you get free on the inside, the moment you realize that you are not inferior, that you are a man, that you are a woman, that you can stand on 2 toes, 10 toes down, and that you can get yours, no one will be able to hold you down. I just came here to give an injection into the land of the zombies and to get you to wake up and to start to have critical thinking. Even in the midst of critical thinking, we will not all agree. Fine, I'm okay with that. I'm not looking for your agreement. I'm looking for you. Do you have the ability to think? Just the other side of it too. Even in the midst of being able to have critical thinking and to think and outside of the land of the zombies, there's something you look at any zombie movies, you always realize that the zombies are always chasing the people who are not zombies. I don't know anybody watching any zombie movies. I'm not really that deep into it, but any zombie movie or series, they always coming after the people who are not zombies to get them to be like them. Isn't that interesting? Doesn't that metaphor, doesn't that analogy sort of applies to what's going on right now in our social climate, political climate? We have a lot of people who are trying to come after you, and we're on either side of the fence. So don't get it twisted on me here that I'm promoting one side over another. On either side of the fence, they're trying to get you, come over here. It's better over here. We're doing this, and they're trying to get you to come on this side of the fence. And then when they got you, you become a zombie too. What happened to your brain? It left the other day. It's only when they stop running from the zombies. Pay attention to what I'm saying to you right now. This is key. It's only when they, in the movie and in your life, you start to think critically and you stop running from the zombies and begin to stand up that the zombies what? Go away. They get killed. And you realize they only come up in the dark. They never come into the what? Light. They never come what? To the light. It's always what? They're always doing something in the dark. My point is saying all of that. I need you, and I'm talking to you right now. I'm speaking to anyone. I'm speaking to a specific person. I need you to think now, to use your critical thinking skills. Not this is the part that's going to get you. Not to be emotionally driven by fear. This the part that I think a lot of people. Oh no, I don't know about this. Oh yeah, you pushed it now. Too many of you have been driven and motivated by fear and by your emotions. Everybody's calling by your emotions, and you have not thought. I know we have this whole thing now we call emotional intelligence. I understand that. Great. But my point is you need to think. Where you're not moved by what you see or how your emotions may teeter-totter on either side, but you are moved by critical thinking and your ability to move forward correctly. You will lose some people. Some people will talk about you and dog you out. Great, as they should. What do you expect zombies to do? They're supposed to be glad that you're decided not to become a zombie? No. In order to be a part of the thinking class, you have to be around people who also not only think like you, but also challenge you in your thinking. Let me please emphasize this right here. You need to be around people who think like you and also challenge anything that you are thinking. I had to go through that just this week. I had a certain mindset and thought pattern about some things that took place in history, and it challenged me. I had to be provoked in my thinking that said, this is not correct. What I have been thinking, what I have been viewing, along with my feelings about it. You need someone to challenge your thinking. In the land of the zombies, you never challenge their thinking. Thinking is not even an option, let alone critical thinking or someone challenging your thinking. You need someone to challenge how you think. You need someone to push back on, no, I don't think that's a good idea, bro. No, sis, why are you doing that? We don't want to do it because we're afraid that we will be what? Ostracized by others because we don't think like them. We need to be able to say constructive criticism. Thank you so much right there. Thank you. Right there. We definitely need people to be able to take constructive criticism. You don't know it all. I don't know it all. It is what it is. You got to be able to take constructive criticism. But in the land of the zombies, you hurt my feelings. You can't say that to me. I'm telling my mommy, I'm going to do a lawsuit against you. I'm getting some tissue. I'm going to troll you. I'm going to block you. I'm not going to like your content because you can't take constructive criticism. You can't take somebody talking about what you're doing and how it is not the sugar honey iced tea. We have a lot of people in this land of the zombies who cannot take constructive criticism. They cannot tell you that what you're wearing is not matching. Let alone tell them that the way you said that wasn't correct. Or the way you dealt with that wasn't correct. Or who you dealing with? Because we got so many people who, I said it on another video, and I'm going to bring it back again in this one, who are emotionally immature. What? They are emotionally immature and they cannot take anybody correcting them on telling them that they are wrong. I ain't wrong. You can't tell me that. I'm a man. I'm a woman. I know something. I went to school. I got this degree, and I got that. You're wrong. What you're saying is not right. I had to repent or correct and apologize when I was wrong this week, because I was completely wrong. When I mean completely wrong, I was dead in the water wrong. And for a long time, I've been fighting what was presented to me, because I said, no, that's not it. Nope. I kept making excuses for it because my attachment to that particular thought. So when I was confronted again with the critical or with the constructive criticism of a particular behavior that I had to say, you know what? You're right. I had to go and apologize and say, you know what? You've been telling me all this time, but I didn't see it. That's when you know you're coming out of the land of the zombies and you coming into the thinking class. When you can acknowledge your wrongs and make them right. When you can acknowledge that what was said to you wasn't them, it was actually you. I'm telling you, it was so burning in my stomach and in my mind. I think I tossed and turned all night Tuesday. And then I got up real early Wednesday, went to the gym, worked out to try to resolve what was going on inside of me. And I realized you can't work this off. You can't run your mouth and work and run it off. You got to confront this head on. What you were thinking was incorrect and it was wrong, and you need to adjust that immediately. Let me say the other side of it. When I did acknowledge it, when I did say to the individual, you know what, you were right with what you were saying, and I didn't see it that way. You've been trying to tell me and I didn't get it. What happened next? Can somebody tell me what happened next to me? Somebody in the chat room tell me what happened to me next. What happened to LDA next after I made that decision to say I needed to correct this particular mindset and this particular way of doing things? What happened next? Can somebody tell me in the chat room what happened? Can someone in the chat room tell me what happened to me next? And I'm saying it because it's going to happen to you. Can you tell me what happened to me after I made a decision to acknowledge where I was at fault? Somebody, you can grow now. You can grow now. Yeah, you grow to know. Let me tell you what happened to me next. Can somebody tell me what happened to me right after, within hours, happened to me after I made the decision to think critically, to acknowledge my faults, acknowledge when I was wrong. Something happened to me immediately afterwards. Few hours later, and I'll give it to you because you need to get this when it comes your turn. Pay attention to what I'm telling you. What happened next, I was tested on whether I had conviction on changing my thinking. Accountability. Yep. What happened next was I was tested. T-E-S-T. Tested. I was tested. I was presented with a situation that I, few hours earlier, had addressed and resolved and was convicted about and made an adjustment in. I was next thing you know, I was in a particular situation where I was tested. What are you going to do now? Because you know you like it. What are you going to do now? You said all these wonderful things. You can confess. You apologize. You adjusted your mindset. You said I'm gonna be a better man. What happened next? I was placed, pay attention, into a test to see if I was going to stand on what I believe, or in so many words, stand on business. And the test was real. It was real. I'm not going to say what it is. If I was to say it, it would be offline. But it was real. And It wasn't the test per se that was the issue. It even wasn't the people involved was the issue. The test was to see, LDA, do you believe or do you have conviction enough to stand on what you said you just learned and the revelation that you just got? Every man, every woman will be, don't get it twisted, you will be tested. Do you stand on business? Do you stand on your convictions and on your beliefs? On this is what it is. And when I'm talking about that test was strong, it was like a tornado that came in. It's like when you pray for patience, then circumstances arise that you require extra effort. Right. That's why I never pray for patience. Never, ever pay for. Nope, don't pay for patience, because you pray for patience, baby, you're gonna be placed in a situation where all your patience is gonna be tested. Or you pray, I'm praying for anybody that ain't supposed to be in my life, don't be there. People start dropping off, cussing you out, doing all kind of stuff. Guess what happened? Your prayer was answered. But in this particular situation, I have made a shift in my consciousness and my thinking. And I said, I'm not going into this route anymore. Guess what happened? Some say, hey, come over here. Let's go over here. It smells good over here. It look good over here. It's nice. It's soft. It's everything that you want. But I had to make a decision and said, I understand that this is a test. I understand that I could fall back and slide right into this. But I had to make a decision that I, LDA, was not going to go backwards, but I was going to pull forward into who I am. And if we were to go a little bit deeper, you understand that the test was not from the devil. Because as much as we want to blame the devil, that it was him, it wasn't from God. The test is what I created on the outside of me to see if I really believed what I said I believed. Let me say that again. The test was not the devil. It wasn't God testing you. It wasn't Mighty Mouse or anybody else. It was whether I believed what I said I believed. I had to prove to myself that this is where I stand at. This is where I'm going. Even in the land of the zombies. So I want you to realize, as I took my gloves off today, and really I wanted to smack you and tell you, get out of the land of the zombies. Begin to have critical thinking. Begin to allow someone to correct your thinking or the way you're doing things. The reason why some of us are not going any further, and I'm going to say it for some of you Black people, is because no one can tell you nothing. You ain't telling me nothing. I've been doing it this way. Nobody can tell you nothing. No one can correct you, Black folks. No one can tell you that what you're doing ain't healthy for you. It ain't right. I remember me and my sister were talking about this. We got an uncle. He's passed on, great uncle. Health was beginning to decline, got into the hospital. He's in there asking for ham hocks and a pig feet sandwich. You don't need no pig feet sandwich. You don't need no ham hock. You don't need none of that. You need to be eating out. You need to be eating out hospital food so you can get out of there. But many of us are the same way. No one can tell you that you need to do right, that you need to get it together, because you know it all. You know it all. I'm convinced that a lot of us are more comfortable with people giving handouts than us getting ourselves. One of the most satisfying things in my life and watching my sons, it's not my ability to give them something, was watching them go after what they wanted. Let me say that again, because this is part of thinking. The most satisfying thing, yes, is to be able to help my sons financially and, mentally, spiritually, things like that. But when they get the satisfaction of getting something that they want and they get it on their own strength, I can't take it away from them no matter what. Some of us have not got that satisfaction of going after something and obtaining it and maintaining it, and it's ours because we have been so addicted to someone else giving it to us through a tube versus us getting it ourselves. It builds your self-esteem, brothers, sisters, when you go after it for yourself and you win. Even if you lose, at least you went out there. I remember I ran track and ran cross country and track in junior high school. I didn't win every race. I ran the mile. I mean, the mile relay. I was the fourth leg. I was either third or fourth leg. I think it was third leg. And I had a tactic in mind. My tactic was slow, keep an even pace going around the track. When I went around the first corner, the second corner, and then by the time I got to the third corner, I put on the jets. And I was always going through my mind going, stick, stick, stick. So when I got to the fourth person and I dropped it in their hand, they were off and going. We have forgot to do that inside of what's going on, Joe Blast. We forgot to do that in our community. We forgot to pass the baton to the next generation of critical thinking. Let me say that again. We have forgot in this place, in this land of the zombies, how to pass on critical thinking to the next generation. They're emotionally immature. They are driven by their lusts, and they don't know where they're going. When will you start to think as men and stop acting like little boys? When will you stop being driven by your lower nature about how many women that you can get, instead of how much properties and what legacy you're going to leave for the generation to come? When are you going to step up and do that? When are you going to leave a mark on this world that says you were here? Or are you going to be flushed down the toilet of life and nobody ever remembers you? Are you going to be that selfish and that self-centered that you're not going to step up and be heard? Everyone, I'm going to say this again, everyone doesn't deserve a mic. Everyone cannot be in the front, but we need some people that stand up and says, this is what I stand on. This is what I believe. I'm preparing the next generation from what I've learned to go to the next level. When are you going to do that? I'm all for game. I'm all for, hey, we can chew the fat about how to get women and female natures and all like that. But I'm gonna say something about that. A good man leaves a legacy for his children. Let me say something about that, because I'm since I got the gloves off this Friday, and I'm going to just say it. It is what it is. The reason why you failing at the game or women and everything, like, because you picking the wrong caliber of women. Let me call it out. You're trying to get game for women you don't even need to be involved with. Plain and simple. You're trying to get relationship advice for someone who does not qualify. And many times you don't qualify because you can't spot when something ain't right for you. I know it's tight, but it's definitely right today. So all this whining and complaining online about these women doing this, who's dealing with those women? And these women did this, and I never heard so much belly aching on these social media sites. And it's entertaining, yes. Some of it's funny. And even with some of these guys belly naked on here, you chose those women. You laid down with her. So don't come on here, especially in the thinking class, because I'm going to call you out. I'm going to tell you a damn fool. I'm going to tell it like it is. You chose her. Why didn't you pick right? Well, I didn't know because I didn't have a this and this and that. There's no excuses anymore for any grown man to make the decision that they make with the advent of all the information that's out there. And if you really want to know, you will search it out. If you really want to know, you will find the answer. We make too many excuses on social media, and I've been guilty of it too, giving our excuses from cookies and cakes and pies to people so that they can feel good, so they don't feel bad. No, you wrong. It is what it is. And the same with the women. Some of you women, you know you're not qualified to be a wife. And I want a man at 6 figures and this and that. You know you don't even qualify. Most of you dress like hookers anyway. If we're going to call a thing, let's call it a thing. And think who falls for those women. It's always on the man, good or bad, right? So let's call it like it is. Call it like it is. Don't come over in this channel barely aching about what these women are doing. Don't do it, please. Delusion is of grandeur, right? And these women doing this, LDA, and they doing this. You don't think. Trust me, I've been on this other side. I've been that man. I understand. I done chased and 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 sniffed and chased and chased. I did all that. When you realize when you get to this particular age or even older or younger, like, hey, wait, why am I chasing? Why am I running after? Is this the right caliber for me? We don't qualify. The reason why you don't qualify someone because you don't understand your value. They qualify you before you even go into certain restaurants and certain, what do you call that? Shops, because they want to make sure that you are able to pay the bill when you leave there. What they have understood that they are of a value to everything around them. What? Who told you that you were not? This goes for men and women. So don't think I'm just getting on the men and I'm not getting on the women at the same time. This goes for men and women. This is what I'm saying. We are listening to the. Let me cut. I'm gonna cut it too because I'm gonna say this. We have been listening to the lower class on social media and glorifying it. Let me say that again because it's going to hurt. That's even in the music. That's even in what's put out there on social media, Instagram, Facebook. It is the lower class of people. It is glorified. What are you saying, LDA? I'm telling you like it is. You have to apply to the country club. Please tell them that. Please, somebody tell them. It's a cigar bar here, and I'm not going to tell you where it is. But the interest fee for the year starts at $1,500. Let me say that again. To go to this particular cigar bar, I'm not going to say where it is. It's $1,500, and then you still got to go through an application fee to even be accepted to go smoke a cigar there. Well, I'm just going where everybody else go, and that's where you're going to be at the same place that everybody else is. $1,500 up front you need to pay. to be a part of this particular cigar bar. You cannot just walk up and go. You don't know where it is. And because of the strict code that they have there, you cannot talk about what's been talked about inside of this place. You got to make a decision. Are you going to be part of the thinking class? Or are you going to be a part of the zombie class, or the people who do not think? People just go along just to be going along. You got to make a distinction between you and them. This will separate what you entertain on social media. This will separate who you listen to on social media, who you listen to in the real world, and the places that you go. I've come to the resolution that there's certain places I cannot go. I will not go. You will not see me there. I cannot go. Can't do it. They are making deals and networking at $1,500. Yeah, you are correct right there. Please, right there. Right there, what you said. That's the difference. You got to decide, are you gonna be at the same place or not? I agree. Yeah. You got to make a distinction, but it's so, trust me. I'm gonna tell you straight from the heart, shoot from the hip. It's entertaining. Some of the stuff I see online, some of the women, some of the this and that. Oh yeah, look at her. She got her this. It's entertaining. But what is it appealing to but my lower nature and not my higher nature or my nature of God that's in my mind? There will be some family cookers. I will not be attending this. See right there. Tell Pookie and Ray, I ain't gonna be able. Hey, I appreciate y'all. I got y'all. Peace. Ask yourself, how much is your soul worth? Woo, that right there. Right, that right there. That right there. That right there. How much is your soul worth? So I want you to really think about this and really process what I'm saying to you. Don't allow these fear-mongering people to capture you and bring you into the land of the zombies. Begin to stand out and begin to think, and not just think, but think critically and also be able to do for yourself. Stop waiting on the sidelines. When Jono was here, Jono come through, we would talk about this. Either you're going to be on the bench or you're going to get your butt up and play in the game. We got too many bench warmers who got more commentary who will never play the game of the sport. Let me say that again, because it's going to, this is definitely the truth. We got so many people who are bench warmers or couch coaches, but they ain't never play a lick of the game in their life. But they got so much to say. You know how it's completely different when you out there playing the game? When I was a kid, we used to play street ball. And the street ball, the sidewalks are in. That means you can get tackled on the grass and the sidewalk. And if you get caught out there, baby, it's on you. Uh-oh, see a bunch of Stephen A. Smith. Yeah. Let me say that again. So if you get caught with the ball and you run to the side, you run out to the grass or to the sidewalk, you getting popped. Because we would play pole to pole, and we have 5-on-5, 5 on one side, and you tackle, you play, you pray you get the ball. If you get the ball, you better run straight or you're gonna get tackled. I mean, tackled on the sidelines. And you better not go there crying. Some people came up crying. I ain't gonna say no names. They know who they are. Sometimes rejection from someone or something is God's protection, correct? But it's different when you standing on the sideline. Oh, y'all playing, man. I wish I can play. No. Get out there. Some of y'all need to be hit. Some of y'all need to be tackled. Get back up and get in the game. We played so many games, so many street football that it was like, hey, it is what it is. It would have been easy to be on the sidewalk just watching everybody play. We always look for a way. How can I get in? When we wait for the two people to pick their people. You. Like, oh man. And even if it was uneven, our goal was to get all the points we can. That's where I'm talking about. Back to the consumerism. They have us watching other men play sports. Watch the other men's being men. Correct. That's dude right there. They have us watching other men play sports, watching other men being men. And even let me go a little further. And y'all may not like it, and I love sports and I watch sports, but even the watching of the sports is a distraction from you going out there and creating something for yourself. If I was to share half of the things I learned just this week, especially how they got you'll learn all the stats for a particular player, and you'll learn all the stats on when they started and what year they enter into the NFL or the NBA, and when did they enter the NFL. You'll know all the stats and how many they are, what their RBIs are, and with all this, you know all that information. But you cannot get your check to balance, your checkbook to balance. Make it make sense to me, please. You can know all what this guy did, what college he went to, but you can't remember when the last time you ate something that was healthy, when the last time you went to the gym. Make it make sense to me. You can learn all these things about these particular individuals, and I'm all for sports. Anybody who's a sports player, NFL player, I'm not coming down on you guys. I'm just telling you what it is. You can learn all these things about them. But what are you doing to generate money like them? You distract the people with entertainment so they never accomplish great things. Let me say it again. You distract the masses with entertainment so that they never accomplish great things. It is big business to keep you as a consumer. When I mean big business, billions and trillions. And I'm not trying to discourage somebody from getting away from it. Make your money, boo. But what I am saying is you need to start thinking. You need to start thinking. When will you start to think, man? When will you not be driven by your lower nature? When will you begin to come out of the land of the zombies and ask, what is it for me? In the words of James Brown in this iconic song, I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open up the door. I will get it myself. And if they don't open up the door, I'm tearing the door off and getting it myself. Those men and women are dangerous. Are what? Dangerous. That's why you always try to tame the lion. They tried to tame the lion in you because you ever figure out that you were made for the wild, you will never be trapped again. This is Lawrence D. Adams. This is when spirituality and the game combines. You got the thinking class. If you got something from what I shared today about coming out of the land of the zombies, Try not to go too political over here, but I could very well definitely go there with the political side of this. I could go there historically, especially for you Black people. I could go there historically about who you are, as far as with segregation, how you did better educationally wise when you were segregated than you did when you begin to assimilate inside of certain groups. I could talk about that, but I'm not going to talk about that. I could say that we were we did better when we begin to think and not become consumers. I could say something about that, but I'm not. I could say something about that. I could go there. How historically we are, how you did better when you realize that you're even though you were in a place that was dysfunctional, you begin to function correctly. How marriages were we had more people that were married back then than we do now. How there's the division that was sculpted or crafted back in the 60s through these programs through a particular president we were not going to address. His name is Lyndon Johnson. We could talk about that and how it destroyed not only the Black community, but it destroyed even every community. Would you have jumped into the landfill to grab some of those beauty products? No, I could have used some of those razors and hair, but that's another story, right? No, I wouldn't have did it, bro. It's amazing what we could talk about with that. How is it that in a particular place in Ohio that there's that they have their poverty, the poverty level is higher than those of some Black communities, but yet these people still thrive? Please explain to me like that. I could talk about that. Since we want to say poverty is an issue, I could talk about that. You know, how this particular how is this is poor people to live here who are not are white or English, if we were to say it correctly, how they are from whatever they're from, but they're poorer than a lot of Black people, but yet they're still thriving. I could talk about that. I could say something about that, how you can't say it's racism stopping them. You can't say if there's economic stopping them because they're poorer than you. But, you know, we realize that the real issue is maybe it's beyond just racism and beyond just poverty. Maybe the real issue is your behavior. We could talk about that. We could say something about that. The real issue is your behavior, your character. We don't want to take the gospel. We don't want to be we don't want to take the gospel of responsibility. We want to take the gospel of blaming everybody else. I could talk about Thomas Sowell. We could go there. We could talk about the Golden 13. You need to go look that up about the Golden 13. I mean, I could go there, but it might be too much for some people to digest, because it's going to push them out of the land of the zombies. And it is a place of thinking when you realize that the only issue that you really have is that you have been tricked into believing that you're inferior and that somebody's holding you back. And the only person that's really holding you back is you. I could talk about that. I could share that. I could address that. That the really person that's really holding you back is not the devil, not the white man, not the blue man, it's not the orange man, it's not the woman, it's not the man. Who really holding you back is really you. You being inferior or feeling or believing that you are inferior to someone else or to something or to some entity. I could talk about that, or how you're looking for handouts for everybody to give you something. And if somebody gives you something, they're going to always want something in return, because that's the law of nature. I could talk about that. No one gives you nothing without expecting something in return. I could talk about that. But when you have a welfare mentality, hey, why not? I want whatever you giving me. not thinking that what they give on the other side is only to trap you so that you never think. We could talk about that. But that might be too much because it may offend some people and they may get mad and say, I don't want to listen to LDA because he sounds like he's thinking now. It sounds like he's not in the loop with the mass consciousness. That may be too much for some people because, it's more better to be comfortable. It's more better to think like everybody else. It's more better to say it's the women. It's more better to say it's the men's fault. Not realizing the psychology that created the structure while there is a breakdown of the family, not just in Black community, but in multiple communities. We could talk about that. We could address that. How there's been there's an undercurrent. Thank you so much. True freedom, right? Truth equals freedom, right? While there's an undercurrent that's been there since the 60s to pull men out of their proper place in the house, we could talk about that. We could address that. But if you address that, someone's going to get upset, and LDA seems like he's a male chauvinist or that he's a misogynist, not realizing we don't talk about the misandry that we get that's latent inside of our social media. Misandry is the opposite of misogyny. I could talk about that. We don't address that. The hitting shots that a lot of men get through the misandry of men being stupid or not being intelligent or they don't know what they're doing. We could talk about even in the slave times. We could talk about it, but I don't know if I want to talk about it yet. We could talk about even in the slave times how in order for the survival of the children, the women were placed over the men and how they have never stepped back since. We could talk about that. Oh no, LDA, don't talk about that. Don't do that. Why would you even address that? That the women were placed, let me say it again, were placed over the men, and then the men were placed under the woman. Don't say it was never like that in Africa. Oh my God. We could talk about that. The man was supposed to protect the woman, but the only way to break the spirit of the men and to continue that cycle to the next generation, you place the women over the men. But we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about. Do we really want to address that? This is when you begin to think. When you begin to come, like your brother said, truth equals freedom. You begin to come really free. We don't want to talk about even how the church played a part in that. Oh, I don't want to. Do I really need to go there? This may hurt some people's feelings if I say it, but it is the truth. And I go to church every Sunday. How some parts of the church are cycling the same misandry through the pulpits. You wonder why men don't come to your church. That is the reason why. We could go there. Now that I got it out of my system, boy. It's like you really had enough. It really like I really had enough. I'm gonna tell you something, man. I'm gonna tell you something, Deez. Let me tell you this. Let freedom ring. let me say something. When you begin to pull back the covers on the sugar honey iced tea that's been given to you and been told that has been good for you and has only been poison, you have enough. When you begin to study the root of why certain things take place, why is there a problem within the relationship issues between Black and men, between Black men and Black women, even white men and white women? What is the issue? What is the root cause of it? What programs were in place to cause this to happen? What was the psychological shift? Who played a part? What Black Power movement played a part in making sure that men and women don't get together? What civil rights leaders took the handout, took the 70%, but only gave 30% to help the people? You will have enough too. You will get enough too. When 70% of the money that comes in is going to administration and going to this one and that one, but it's never there. 30% is only to help the people. You wonder, you start to begin to think completely different. So yeah, it's called divide and conquer. Yeah. You start to realize that, oh, okay, all these people say we shall overcome, we're only trying to overcome for themselves. You begin to question everything and everyone. So for me to sit back on this platform and not give the truth, it is what it is. For me to say that I didn't, that I'm going to allow make Ray Simpson the biggest thing that's stopping me. No, how can God be stopped by racism? I'm just wondering that. How is, if Donald Trump gets in or Kamala Harris, how is it going to stop God? I'm just saying, really. God, this is, I could say more, but I'm not. This is just the peak of where I've been processing all this week. Just the peak. This is just the tip of the iceberg. This is for you. And the reason why I'm sharing this, because I want to evoke you to start thinking and questioning even what I say, anything that someone tells you. But this week has been an eye-opener for me. I had to face some things in me. This ain't right. And I thank God that I have a platform that I can come on and share these things, whether people agree or not. I hope you do not agree. I hope you do not come to my channel no more, because this ain't for everybody. Not trying to appeal to the masses, but to the thinking class. Then let me say this other thing. Then you understand how the advent of the pimps and the prostitutes came into play. How we still have that pimp and prostitute culture that's propagated in our rap music. Oh, forget Public Enemy. Oh yeah, forgot about them. But we're going to promote that culture. And we wonder why our children are going down the toilet drain faster than we can even make them. We don't want to talk about the welfare system. And I heard something. This is the last thing I'm going to say, because this really got me. How the welfare system has, how this one woman, 58 years old, has 5 generations below her. I heard this yesterday. I was completely floored. She had her kid when she was young. Boom. That kid had a kid when he was young. Boom. She had a bunch of kids when she was young. She had 5 generations. She was 5 generations in at 58. 58. With no husband, but just men coming cycling in and out from her down to her kids, let alone her sons having a bunch of kids and the grandsons having a bunch of kids through the system or the program we call welfare. Don't tell me that men ain't important in this society. Don't tell me that men are not important in this society. That would be the biggest lie that have told so far. Oh, what were the men? Who, they knew what it was? She was there for a good time, not a long time. And when I heard the story, it broke my heart, because there's 5 generations from this lady at 58 years old. And from what I understand, only 2 kids out of the whole cluster of that family graduated high school and went on to college. Only 2. The only reason why they made it is because their fathers came and got them and took them away. Only two. Please understand what I'm saying to you. I'm talking to you. Only two of those kids, I see the bubble come up, graduated high school and went to college. It was only because the fathers came and took the kids away from the environment that they were in. Don't tell me we don't need men. That's power. That right there should cause you to really think. That's a smoke screen for them to feel like they're better than us. We saw that happen with the trans boxer. After that, the others got socked. That's what they wanted. Yep. I'm not even there. We can even go there with that. Only two kids graduated. That's serious. Knowing their place in society and stop competing with us, right? So if you got something from this, put a number 1 in the chat room. I'm going to stop because I could really go in about the Golden 13, but I'm not. Put a number 1 in the chat room if you got something from today. Put a number 1 in the chat room. They didn't unleash the LDA that I normally don't unleash. Put a number 1 in the chat room. If you got something or it provoked you, didn't like it, you didn't care, make sure you put a like, make sure you like this afterwards too, because I'm about to end this one. Put a 1 in the chat room. You got something from the day. Because I could go and talk about mental illness that is rampant inside of our community. All across the board, black, white, yellow, whatever the mental illness that's undiagnosed inside of our community. I could talk about that, but I'm not. But I will end this conversation or this podcast on this note. You need to wake up to who you really are. Stand up on 2 feet. You're no longer inferior. You are great men and women. It's time to take your place and to be accounted for. Here in this earth. We are the thinking class, separated from those in the land of the zombies. Be accounted for. I'm out.
shines like silver, eyes bright like a flame. Kind of magic in his laughter, no one else plays the game. Dance moves smooth on the floor, every step crowd begging for more. Whispers words, makes hearts sore, leaves unwanting what came before. Oh, he's a silver charm, can't resist his sweet alarm. Every glance, every move, got us caught in his groove. It's just a number in this play, silver fox takes the day. Wise words and he sways, finds a way to make you stay. Years gone by, he's still the best, charming hearts, nothing less. With his style, he's so blessed, plays the game like none finesse. Oh, he's a silver charm, can't resist his sweet alarm. Every glance, every move, got us caught in his groove. Dance moves smooth on the floor, every step, crowd begging for more. Ooh. Whispers, words, makes hearts sore, leaves them wanting what came before. Oh, he's a silver charm, can't resist his sweet alarm. Every glance, every move, got us caught in his groove.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'll be able to do it. So it looks like
It's just a number in this play, silver fox takes the day.